Okay, we're rolling for another fragrance review. This time, this is a bit of a different one. It's not that I've not have heard of Roberto Cavalli, but I never had, this is the first and last fragrance by this company, and you'd think if again, without jumping the gun and giving away the end rating, if you like it, why have you not purchased another one? And this was actually a Christmas present bought for me about 2 years ago. So again, it's not like I'm not going to look into them. It's just I tend to go with what I know, and I don't really blind buy. But again, as I said, this was a Christmas present from my dad that actually surprised me, because again, you never always know what you're going to get in terms of blind smelling, blind buying, albeit there are some that I've done more recently that have actually been pretty good, which is surprising again, because I'm old, I'm Grandpa Simpson. I normally go with what I know, what my smell profile, what I kind of like, and what I want to use it for. So without further ado, we'll go over the notes and then we'll do the smell test on the skin. I'll just say, as an EDT, this has surprised me. I actually put this on the other day because I knew that I wanted to review it and mention it, because again, it's very surprising. It's Roberto Cavalli UOMO. It's got a kind of fancy logo, a bit like the Givenchy Gentleman. That's what it reminded me of. I actually dug it out of the back. I've not worn it for a long time, but as I said, wore it the other day for the gym, because again, I couldn't even remember what the smell was. And I will say that it's more of like a going out, sort of clubbing, dark night time fragrance. It's not as fresh and clean as, say, what you would associate with a gym. But regardless, the performance was very good. I think it lasted between 4 and 5 hours, which for an EDT, and I didn't smash it on either. I just randomly picked it up. I was like, I've got all my favourites, I've got me not so good ones, and this was near the back somewhere, and I was just like, oh, I haven't worn this for a long time. But without further ado, it was just a nice surprise, because again, sometimes you go back to things you might not have done in the past, or in this case, warring for a long time, and it was just a nice surprise. I just thought, there's a lot of EDTs I've been reviewing more recently where the quality, or sorry, the longevity leaves a lot to be desired, shall we say. Even if the initial radiance and projection's very good, that's kind of how they're designed. Without further ado, we'll go over the notes. So, pen page, where are we? Here we are. Roberto Cavalli UOMO, and the price is £50 for 100ml. So more on the expensive side in terms of other EDTs that I've been reviewing more recently, that range from like 15, 20, 30, some up to £40. But in my opinion, I'd already say that this is worth the £50. If you can get it for cheaper, then do so. But I think you don't want to be spending upwards 60, 70, 80, or even over £100 for an EDT, no matter the house, because again, I just think half the time you're better off going with the EDP. Most EDTs you have to smash on, so you end up going through the bottle quicker, and that's kind of how they're designed, like a short-lived 2 to 4 hours. But as I said, with this, it was closer to 5, maybe even 6, where it then become more of a skin scent. So I find that impressive for an EDT, especially on my skin. So boasting top notes of black violet and saffron, combined with middle notes of honey and lavender, and delicately finished with base notes of tonka bean, cedar and patchouli, Roberto Cavalli UOMO is an oriental fragrance for your extravagant, sophisticated man. So I'll be honest, it's like, again, now looking at them notes, I wrote them notes a long time ago, knowing that I was going to review it, but obviously not knowing that I was going to put it on the other day. So you can kind of get from them notes, is not, minus the honey, most of it is more like, again, as I described it initially, more like a going out at night, dark kind of environment, and it's kind of strong as well. So yeah, I'll do the skin, the actual spray, and then I'll go over what I detect and go from there. So again, the radiance is always very impressive on an EDT. I have mentioned this in the past. But yeah, it's very pleasant. I might even consider changing my review. I was originally going to give it a 7. I don't tend to do half marks, but I think in this instance, if it was an EDP and it lasted longer, I would give it an 8. But I just think for the price and the quality of it, it's just really surprised me for an EDT. And again, I might even consider looking into Roberto Cavalli as a house, because again, this was bought for me. I'd never heard of them at the time. You know, you get used to going through your usual houses, and then you find ones that you like. Like for me, I can never really, if I say like a Jean Paul Gaultier or a Givenchy, I can never really go wrong. Most of them I like, even the ones I don't like as much. It's going to be at least a 7 out of 10. So anyway, yeah, the weird thing is it actually smells even more potent. It's almost like, since I sprayed it the other day, I didn't really appreciate, because maybe my mind's elsewhere, and now I'm sitting down and actually taking it in more. It's really nice. It's very strong. It surprises me that it's an EDT, honestly, that it's very, so much so that I'm checking the bottom of the bottle. Yeah, EDT. It's the power and the radiance that just stays, and it lingers on for several hours, whereas most of the EDTs I've been reviewing more recently, the Dupe Jump, the Sean John Unforgivable, the Ted Baker Skinwear, I can't think of the moment, but that's 3 off the top of my head EDTs. This performs more like an EDP, and even though it doesn't evolve on the skin like an EDP, you can tell that it's complex. So even though the breakdown isn't maybe as extensive as, say, an EDP, it's just something about it. So if I was describing it, so even though it's not very, it's sort of like an element of fruit in there, slightly citrusy, not as fresh, even though that there's an element of that in there. It's not as fresh or as clean as some of the others, but there's a middle note there that just kind of, it gives it like a big oomph of power. And again, that's why I'd say for an EDT, it's surprising. It's more of like a projection, almost like a confidence thing. Almost there's something in it that gives that, or that illusion to me of that, like that power element, whatever that might be. But yeah, it's just very nice. I'd recommend this. Normally I don't do half marks, but in this instance I'll give it a 7.5. If it was an EDP, and for the price, obviously the price would go up slightly from the what's it, £50 for 100ml. I still think that that's very good value. And I'm really happy, might be showing it with the smile and the enthusiasm with this review, but it's just the EDCs have left a lot to be desired for a long time. And I do really like this. It's really nice. So I originally was going to give this a 7 out of 10, but on smelling this again, and maybe being able to sit down and evaluate it better, yeah, I think that, again, this is just my opinion. You would have to try it on your own skin, or try it on a card and see if it even agrees to you. And then if you like it, wear it on the skin, review it after an hour or two, and then go back to the shop or buy it online, or whatever you choose to do. But I would recommend this, and I would give this a 7.5. Again, for a lot of people that might not have heard of this brand, I certainly hadn't. In comparison to all the others I've been using the best part of 25 years, which is a bloody long time. Yeah, it's really surprised me, and I think it's really good value. £50 for 100ml EDT that lasts on me 5 to 6 hours. Very pleasant opening. Obviously it's an EDT, so by design very linear, and it most of the time would just be a skin scent, but on me it radiates off quite well. Very pleasant, more like a dark fruity date night mate and clubbing kind of environment. I see, not necessarily for the office or gym, even though I made the mistake of wearing it from the gym because it had been so long since I smelt it. Still got a lot of the bottle left as well. So yeah, wholeheartedly recommend this EDT, which I wouldn't normally do, and for the price I don't think you can really go wrong. So we end on that, 7.5. I broke my rule, normally do whole marks, but yeah, 7.5 out of 10 for this one. UOMO by Roberto Cavalli.